He's 60 to 1, 16 to 1, I should say, for the National Hunt Chase at the festival.
He was second to, I know he's, I've picked a couple of yours lads, but
with runners looking to maybe up their marks for the race, it comes at a lovely time to do that.
And I just love the way the lad can travel at speed and then quicken when he's needed to. He's only had a few runs. No, it didn't run in a national flat, so they've gone straight over hurdles.
Hello, welcome to our little look towards the card. So obviously we had our Sunday live on Twitter. That went down better than expected. So we've gone for a second midweek upload where we're going to take a little look towards the Saturday cards. Have a few naps lined up with our naps table, which are going to keep throughout these videos, and we're just going to have a nice little chat about what's going on at the weekends and any interesting cards. Now, I do have to admit something here. This is our second try. The first try went very well and the recording messed up. So we're on for a second go. I'm not recording using a potato. I'm using my laptop, and the camera doesn't seem to be the best, but you know, as long as you can see my beautiful face, we're all good. So obviously I'm A Simmons Journo on Twitter. I'm joined by Lee. So Lee, just introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, Lee, so I'm at RacingLee1 on Twitter. So obviously, like Ashley has had a good experience the other day with our Cheltenham live. So if anybody wants to join, that's on Sundays, every Sunday up until the festival. Merries carry on afterwards, but 8 o'clock on a Sunday, and then you can just join on the live Twitter.
Yeah, and it's 8 o'clock, top bar of your screen, and that's where you can sort of get nice interaction. And Harry, yourself, just a little introduction.
Yeah, so I'm Harry, HarryBeard7 on Twitter. Obviously, just to another mention what the lad said about the live on Sunday evenings. Brilliant viewers, cracking start to obviously what hopefully will gain more and more viewers. And if, like you said, if there's any questions that you want us to answer for you, just let us know. At us on Twitter, send us a message. And yeah, make sure to tune in at Sundays at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna we'll run through this weekend so far. So we've got Betfair Super Saturday at Newbury. We've also got a very interesting Warwick card, and we've got a few nice and interesting races throughout the week. But without further ado, we'll get cracking with this Newbury card. The first race on ITV is the 1:15. It's a 2 mile 7. It's the Betfair Cheltenham Rawcast Novices Limited Handicap Chase for Class 3. Stayers need apply. We've got no prices at the moment. We're currently recording this on a Monday, so we're going off our knowledge and our fancies. Obviously, the big one entered at the moment is Brave Man's Game. He, looking at Paul Nicholls' comments so far this week, he should be going to this race. He's got an entry in the Denman, Denman Chase, which we'll cover later. But he should be going for this race. You can imagine it would go off a fairly short price favourite, even though it's a handicap chase. We'll go to Harry first. What do you think? I know you've got a nice little fancy for this. So what is it?
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, Brave Man's Game should take all the beating if Paul Nicholls decides to send him to obviously this handicap. A slight fancy that I do have, in fact, it's not a slight, it's a big fancy that I do have, is a horse of Rebecca Curtis's, Pat's Fancy. At the minute, it's 2 from 3 over fences. Won very impressively at Chepstow last time out, beating a horse called Imperial Alcazar, who we know has gone on to do much better things at the Cheltenham Trials meeting. He's 16 to 1, I should say, for the National Hunt Chase at the festival. And with the way that Rebecca Curtis has gone about T for 3, obviously winning the National Hunt Chase all those years ago as an 8-year-old off 146. This lad off 143 at the minute. I think if it gets a couple more at the same kind of rating that T for 3 went off at, I think this could be a master plan by Rebecca Curtis for the National Hunt Chase at 14 to 1 Sky Bet. Number no bet, I think is a definite play as well.
Yeah, obviously, you've had a very interesting shout there. National Hunt Chase being mentioned, which is it's a bold claim, especially a hot National Hunt Chase. Lee, yourself, is there anything that sort of jumps off the page for this race?
I'm the same as Harry there. Pat's fancy for me. I think it's definitely a strong steer. I think each way price against. I mean, Ravens game is going to go here. Paul Nichols said the other day that he was going to go here instead of going into Denman Chase. So, but yeah, I think the same. T for 3 was a cracking horse. Went for the 4 mile. I think it's the 3 mile 6 or whatever it is now, the National and Chase. But yeah, and I think it's a similar profile and strong steer. Good each way chance. So Pat's fancy for me in that first.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a very interesting race. I think personally, I think if Braveman's game goes, I think he probably will win, and it'll be. You know, we had comparisons to Denman last season from Paul Nichols about this horse, and obviously we saw Denman, that massive weight carrying performance in the Hennessy. Could we see another one on Saturday? I don't know. Bangers and Cash for me is just a nice, interesting one. He's a progressive type. He's off 119 if he goes to the race. He's had a win and a second in his last 2 runs. He was going away nicely when beating a horse called Velasco last time. It was won by, I think, a length and a bit overall, but he was going away nicely. He was behind Larkbearer Lads, who went and finished second in a novice chase later after that. In his novice hurdle days, he finished ahead of Beauport, who's a 136 hurdler now. So off a marker 119, could be a very interesting one, but I do think it's possibly over the complication, and Braveman's game could turn up and could be the second coming. So that's the 115 at Newbury. We'll go on to the 150 at Newbury, which is a daily rewards with Betfair handicap hurdle. It's a 3 mile event. Again, stayers need apply, so 0 to 145. We've currently got Impressive Lady topping the market at 4 to 1. Risk and Roll for the James Evans team at 6 to 1. Polish 13 to 2. Kansas City Chief is in there, which I'll be all over if he goes, but he is declared for Wednesday somewhere, and I think he'll probably go there. I think it's Fakenham he's declared for on Wednesday. The Brimming Water at 7s, the Big Breakaway at 8s, and the rest of the field is 10s or above. I'm going to take this one to start with because I do have a small fancy in this. So obviously, if Kansas City Chief goes, I'll be all over it, but I think this race does fall very nicely into the catchment of the Potemps. So obviously it's not a Potemps race, not a Potemps qualifier, but with runners looking to maybe up their marks for the race, it comes at a lovely time to do that. And there's currently, taking out Kansas City Chief, I don't think he'll go. There's currently 2 in the race who are qualified for the Potemps. That is the aforementioned named Risk and Roll and Polish. They're both off a mark of 130, which you're going to be answering your prayers if you get into the Potemps off 130. It's a tough one to get into, so maybe want to put in a nice run and get a couple pounds from the handicapper. I'm on the side of Risk and Roll. He absolutely bolted up by 7 lengths in his qualifier under a motionless tower for Worsley, and I think back in his days, back in 2018, he was 3/4 of a length off Mr. Malarkey, 3 lengths off Cyril Delac, off similar weights and handicaps, and I think they're both 140 chasers. So I think he's got a great chance. We'll probably want to be looking up to get up his mark in the handicap. But Harry, yourself, where can you see this race go in the 150?
Yeah, I think it's obviously, like you said, a very interesting race. A couple in there that are obviously worth merit their place in this race. A horse that I do like is the Big Breakaway, back over hurdles now. He's 2 from 3 over hurdles. He's won at a course. He's won easily before at. And obviously, remembering over hurdles, he was 4th, beaten not far by Envor Allen at the festival. Obviously, when we all thought Envor Allen was the machine we all hoped he would be. Obviously, unfortunately, he's not at the minute. 8 to 1, if the Big Breakaway turns up at that, I'm expecting a big run from him. And I'm willing to give him an each way chance.
Yeah, no, the Big Breakaway, definitely. You'd possibly assume off his chase mark and his previous hurdle form, he would be top weight. We're currently recording this on a Monday evening, so we haven't got the weights at the moment. Lee, yourself, which camp do you side in?
Not a strong fancy in the race. Same as Harry, maybe it's the Big Breakaway, but obviously it's a tough race to be betting in. So I've got a strong fancy, just to say, if you've got a strong fancy, go with it. But try and keep your money, keep the powder dry. Maybe it's for one of your stronger fancies. And for me, maybe I'll have a small bet on the Big Breakaway each way. Maybe get a 4 or 5 places, hopefully. But yeah, not a strong fancy for that one.
No, definitely. It's going to be a very interesting race, and fingers crossed we can see a good one. Obviously, I'd just like to mention, I haven't mentioned it yet. I don't usually look like this with a skin on a white t-shirt. I have just come back from football. I do shower. I don't always have greasy hair. The 225 at Newbury is the next race we're going to be looking at. It is the previously mentioned Denman Chase. It looks like a very hot contest. Clanders Obeaux 4 to 5 is currently topping the market. Got a Royal Pagaille in there, 2 to 1. Imperial Aura at 6s. Brave Man's Game has got an entry, but he will only go if Clanders Obeaux doesn't. So that's why he's 10 to 1 in the market. Eldorado Allen 16s, and Darasha Counter back again after a long layoff, 33 to 1. Lee, yourself, where can you see this race going? It's not really a betting race myself, but where would you fancy?
If Paul Nicholls' stable was in form, then I'd definitely be all over Clanders Obeaux. I think it's got the strongest form. The Punchestown Gold Cup, obviously that was a cracking race, won that race. It won this, it was a next second, I think, last year. £6 it was given to the winner there. So, and it's won round Newbury, but obviously I think it's just a lot better than them. Brave Man's Game is going to go to the first race, the handicap. I just think it's a lot better than these, but I wouldn't have a strong view on it just because of the Paul Nicholls form. So maybe I'll do it in a double with Paul's in the next race, the Hitman race. But yeah, just the form would put me off of the stables, so not for me at the minute.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, we saw Greenatine and Frodon bomb out in Ireland. His form is very off, so very off the rails. He's not having any early week runners. He said that himself. But Harry, it looks like a 2-horse race to me. I don't think Imperial Aura is good enough. 4 to 5, 2 to 1 for the 2 horses at the top. Where do you side?
Like you said, lads, I don't think for me, it's definitely not a betting race. Royal Pagaille, I know obviously his performance carrying all that weight last time out was absolutely incredible. He deserves to be in it. Clanders Obeaux, though, I think if he reproduces anything like his best form, it'll be very tough to beat in this. Stable form's obviously a massive worry. Imperial Aura isn't good enough in my eyes. It's going to have to bounce back since when it pulled up last time out. Good to see the old boy Darasha Counter back. Eldorado Allen is worthy of a place. And maybe if he reproduces his form like he did at the Cheltenham Festival, he could be a very big price. But for me, Clanders Obeaux is the one to be on if all is well.
Yeah, and for me, I know I gave him a good shout a small shout for the Gold Cup on the live we did on Sunday. I know you boys, laughed me out the place, but I did give a shout to Royal Pagaille for the Gold Cup. So I would, if I was to have a bet, very undecided if I'm going to have a bet at this point. But if I was going to have one, my money would probably be on him at the prices. I just think I was taken back by that weight carrying performance last time out. And if he's off level,
would you say it's ground dependent or?
Yeah, I think possibly. Obviously, he gets labelled as a mudlark, and he would be, obviously he won at Haydock on soft. But then, like in that Ladbrokes Chase, I know he's 22 lengths behind a Plutard, but it was on good to soft. He didn't run badly. It would be interesting to see if he actually goes for the race. You could see him getting pulled late on. But I think if Royal Pagaille goes, I could just have a little squeak on him at 2s and nothing major, obviously. But I know, Lee, yourself, you could be on for a double in the next 2 races, because obviously the 225 that we mentioned there, the Denman, the Clanders Obeaux, owned by Sir Alex Ferguson. And in the 3 o'clock at Newbury, we've got Hitman topping the market as well, owned by Sir Alex Ferguson as well. He's currently 11 to 4. Fernando Sivola is 3 to 1. So Royale 3 to 1. Editor to Jeet 5 to 1. Sky Pirate 11 to 2. And Cheddleton at 20 to 1. So Lee, yourself, I think you're in the Hitman camp, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely Hitman for me. But again, obviously the form's not happening for the Paul Nicholls yard at the minute. But I think I'll just play a small small just win double on Clan des Obeaux and Hitman. If Clan doesn't win, I maybe say put a bit more on Hitman and see what happens. But I mean, it's got strong form. Third last year, I think, was in the manifesto at Aintree. That was behind Protectorate. Ran in the Haldon Gold Cup. That was behind Eldorado Allen. And obviously then second in the Tingle Creek, I believe. So that was a good run. Beat Captain Guinness, beat Nubia Negra. I mean, Chatham Boursois, obviously he bombed out in the Tingle Creek, so that wasn't his running anyway. But I mean, I think that's still good form, Grade 1 form as well. And I think he'll just be a lot better. I think the Savola horse, I think that's just a handicapper, to be honest. It was behind Shishkin, but that wasn't Shishkin's true running when it was at Aintree, beating 3 lengths, I think it was. That wasn't Shishkin. That was the end of the season. So for me, I think Hitman will land a knockout blow.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I don't see the prices at all. Like 3-1 for Nambil Savola is an absolute disgrace. You know, it's nothing on the horse, nothing on the horse at all. I think the horse is great, and I fancied him for a race not so long ago, a race that he lost in. I just don't see 3-1 at all. You know, 3 lengths behind Shishkin, end of the season Shishkin, where he really wasn't at his best, like you said. There's no reason to be putting him 3-1 here. You know, he was 4 lengths behind Kim Bailey's first flow in Huntington in the Peterborough Chase. But then he goes into a handicap grade against Vienna Court and he's 9th. You know, he wins a Class 2 by a length to the Big Bite. And now he's 3-1 to Hitman, who I think is a really good thing. You know, Hitman was 5 lengths behind Greenatine. Greenatine's target was the Tingle Creek. And he went and finished 5 lengths behind him. You know, he was 4 lengths behind Protectorate at Aintree. Protectorate's gone and franked the form this season by absolutely bolting up and being an 8-1 shot for the Gold Cup. And I can't see it. I wouldn't trust So Royale as far as I can throw him. And I think the only option maybe is a little danger is Editor to G at the prices at 5s. But Harry, yourself, Hitman, is it a free across the board for all of us?
It is. It's a hat trick, boys. I think Hitman is smart chase form, like you said, especially behind Protectorate. 1 from 1 at Newbury as well. And that run behind Grenadine, obviously Grenadine's Tingle Creek, I thought that can be upgraded as well because I thought that was Grenadine at its best. I think obviously if you take away the run from in Ireland, that run behind Grenadine is well worth franking, and I think the odds that he's got at the minute are well worth taking. 11-4 is an absolute steal, I think. Just to give a shout out to So Royal, obviously won the race last year. Disappointing last time out, but I fully expect him to bounce back to some sort of form. Unsure what's happening with Sky Pirate this year. He did win the Grand Annual for me last year. I do love the horse. He has got some smart form behind him, especially that couple of runs at Warwick. Behind us, I can't remember who he's behind. Was it one of Venetia's?
Yeah.
Graves the Singer, I think.
Yeah, that's the
there
one.
It is.
So I think that's got Sky Pirate. Obviously, is worthy, but I think Hitman takes all the beating here, lads, and I think it's well worth a bet.
No, definitely, and I'm fully prepared for when this comes out and people clip this on Twitter, me saying Fernando de Savola is a disgrace at 3-1. I'm fully waiting for the clips on Twitter.
Just to say though, if Paul Nicholls was in form, Hitman would be definitely favourite. Venetia's obviously flying, so then Savola's put in there. But if the form was the other way around, Hitman would be a lot shorter than he is at the minute. So it's a chance you take, but I think he's just better than them.
Definitely, and I think it's going to be an interesting race. I think Hitman's a great bet currently at the prices, 11-4. I'd expect that definitely to go sooner or later. But then we move on now to the 3:35 at Newbury, and it is the big race of the day. Big race of the weekend is the Betfair Hurdle, a Grade 3 handicap. I will be at Newbury in the parade ring on media duties, and I think this is going to be an absolutely cracking day and a cracking race we've got on our hands. Broomfieldberg, currently the anti-post favourite at 7-1. Jpr One's 8. We've got Nappers Hill at 9. Jetois, very nice running behind Constitution Hill at 10s. Soaring Glory at 11s. And I like to move it at 12s. And you can have the rest of the field above that. We'll go to Harry first. Harry, where do you side for the Betfair hurdle?
For me, it's a one-horse race for me, very one-sided. However, 12-1 anti-post on Jpr One, I think, is an absolute steal. Of 10-3, it's such a low weight. And obviously in a pristine handicap like this, you're going to need a low weight. Novices have a superb record in race. And I just love the way the lad can travel at speed and then quicken when he's needed to. He's only had a few runs. No, it didn't run in a national flat, so they've gone straight over hurdles. And with it being a clear plan, this his last run at Exeter, I think I'll be disappointed if he doesn't go close. He looks a machine. I was disappointed to see him. I know we were both there, obviously, when he got beat at Cheltenham, but his last run at Taunton was superb, and I fully expect him to be bang there at the finish.
Sorry to interject, but Jpr One is off 10 stone 9 rather than 10 stone 3.
Oh, he's off.
It's still a low weight. Still a low weight, but
it's still a very low weight. Very low weight.
It's definitely interesting there. And Lee, yourself, do you concur or do you look somewhere else for the Betfair hurdle?
I'm with Harry, I'm afraid, for this one. I mean, it's a 155 grand race, 16 runners, I think, at the minute. So I think you can get a few places. There'll be, 5 or 6 maybe places. You might squeak 7 places out of Sky Bet. They like to do a lot of places on these type of races, but I think Jpr One's got good form. I like the Exeter run. I think it beat little lad. He was second in the Persian War Chepstow. Then third was I Am Maximus. He was obviously second to Hillcrest. We couldn't see what happened with him the other day because obviously unseated. So we don't know about that form, but obviously it was still a strong race. So I Am Maximus was good, but he was in third to Jpr One, and then the fourth even come out at Lingfield 2 weeks back there, won a good race as well and beat a couple of winners in that race. So strong form. Obviously, then going into this race, I think his first time handicap, I think he's well handicapped. One I would maybe chuck another dart at, have 2 in the race, Glory and Fortune. He was second to, I know he's, I've picked a couple of yours lads, but yeah, Glory and Fortune, second at Edwardstone in the Christmas hurdle, had good form. It's won the Welsh champion hurdle as well. And also it ran in the Greatwood, which, I mean, I think that's cracking form. That Greatwood hurdle, there's a lot of winners come out of that race, and Glory and Fortune, but I'm on Jpr One with Harry as well. So 2 good darts for that race.
No, I like both horses. Jpr One, as Harry said, I was at Cheltenham and it was very interesting run. Just got chinned on the line. I think he is a good horse. Maybe has something to prove at the moment into handicap company. We shall see on the day. And as my little raised fist there, I am a Glory and Fortune fan. And I'm surprised Harry's not. We're both Epitante fans. And so I thought the Epitante form lines would have been absolutely right at the forefront of his mind. But Glory and Fortune, I can rattle off, and I've written down quite a lot of form lines here, and I'll just rattle off a few of them. Obviously, as mentioned, Christmas hurdle form in behind Epitante, off levels. He was ahead of Soaring Glory, ahead of Tritonic, ahead of Not So Sleepy off levels. Soaring Glory's now 8-9-1 in the market for this. Obviously, last year's winner. He was a neck behind Buzz in a novice hurdle off very similar weights, off levels, sorry. And obviously Buzz is a 155 hurdler and was he was the stayers anti-post favourite for a while until being injured. He beat Don Levant and Cormier in the Welsh champion hurdle. Obviously, Don Levant's a very good handicapper this season, and Cormier's just gone and won at Cheltenham in a nice handicap. He was 6th in a very, very hot Greatwood. And I think that form is going to be, there's going to be lots of lines of that form throughout the season. Was ahead of Maria's Rock, giving £7. Maria's Rock went and won after that. She's £5 better. Was behind Tritonic off the same weight. Tritonic's now £5 higher, and Adagio was second, and he's now £5 better off as well. So it's a very improving race, that Greatwood, that we just saw in December of last year. Excuse me. He was 9 lengths behind Ansam, who was 140 chaser. He was 8 lengths off Stolen Silver, who is 144 rated chaser. If you really want to go to it, 10 lengths behind Chantry House, and we know where he is in the Gold Cup market. So that's an improving form. He beat Torn and Frayed in a race back in his day, and I think he's a very good thing. I would give a strong shout to 50 Ball. He was second in the race last year off a mark of 131. He goes into the race on Saturday again off that same mark. For him to be second to Soaring Glory last year, and Soaring Glory is now £16 better off in the overall rating. This could just be one of those little Gary Moore plots. He's on Gary Moore's in some great form recently. Obviously, we saw Same Connections Goshen win, and I believe a novice hurdler on the same day. So he's in great form, especially for those owners. And I think he could just be a little interesting one at 20-1. So some nice darts there for the Betfair hurdle. I think we've covered that in some great extent. Obviously, on the same day, we have Warwick on the ITV races. The first race live on ITV Racing from Warwick is the 135. It's a 2 mile 5 mares hurdle, class 1 listed race. We've currently got Molly Ollie's Wishes topping the market at 6-4. Indefatigable close and behind at 13-8. Maria's Rock 5s. White Hot Chili Philly at 8s. Get a Tonic 10s. Anything for Love at 14s. Tequila Blaze at 20s. And Petite de Belle, the Raga Field at 66s. Harry, first race at Newbury on ITV. First race at Warwick on ITV. Where can you see this going?
No, I think this is a super little race. This, obviously, the mares. I do think it could be a 2-horse race between the top two. Obviously, Molly Ollie's Wishes has some brilliant form behind her. Indefatigable, obviously, winning the festival. That famous race, just nabbing Pilion or Pylon.
It was either Pilion or Polish. One of the two.
Yeah, either one of the two. But anyway, that was just a superb race to watch. And I am going to side with Molly Ollie's Wishes just because Dan Skelton's record around Warwick is absolutely superb. It's his local track. It's interesting to see Harry's already jocked up on this Monday night. So I fully expect her to be firing away and coming swinging on the last with Harry absolutely pulling double. But no, fingers crossed she goes close.
No, definitely. I've just been given a reminder on our recording that we've got 10 minutes left. So we're going to have to really wrap up Warwick in some rapid fire. So I'm going to stop rambling. I think an interesting one in this race is Anything for Love. Is a bit of a mudlark, but was in behind Martello Sky. Martello Sky is a good thing, I think. And if Jamie Snowden sends it, then he must have interest in the ground and must think it's all right. Lee, you weren't sort of sold on anything, were you, in this race?
Just to say that I do fancy Indefatigable for the mares at Cheltenham, so I think 20s was available. I think it's been cut in a little bit now that there's none run on no bet, but I do think it's a Cheltenham specialist, and I think she's got a strong each-way chance in the mares race. Hopefully this is a good prep for her, but yeah, Indefatigable for the mares at Cheltenham. Not so much for this race. I'm unsure how to play this race, but yeah, looking forward to Cheltenham, then that's one for me for the mares.
Definitely, yeah. It's got an interesting one. Could be one for the stairs as well. Who knows? The 205 at Warwick is a 2 mile novice chase. It's the Kingmaker. It's a very interesting little race, this. Obviously, the second favourite for the Arkle currently. Edwardstone's in there, 11-8. Third time lucky, we saw a couple of weeks back, 2-1. For Pleasure in that same race, he took a heavy fall, 14-1. You got Brave Siska, fours, great pronunciation, and the rest of the field at random prices. We'll go to Lee first. If you can give us a quick roundup of this race, what do you fancy?
I'm all over Edwardstone for this one. I think it's got some cracking form. I think it was 5th or 6th there in the
was it in the county, I think? So
Fifth.
I don't think it minds Cheltenham. So I think it's our best UK chance anyway, especially for the Arkle. But I think it's a solid one. But I don't think For Pleasure or Third Time Lucky will come here. For Pleasure had a hard fall the other day. Third Time Lucky, obviously, it's going to be 2 weeks in between come Saturday. So I don't think they'll go there. And I think 11-8 is definitely value for Edwardstone. The only one who could get near it is that brave Sasenga of Venetia's. But I do think Edwardstone has got a few pounds in hand for him. So 11-8, I think that's the value play, and that'll be my best on the card at Warwick.
Lee put me out of a job there on pronunciation of that Venetia horse. Yeah, it's a good fancy there. I don't really have much more else to say on that race. I think Edwardstone is a good thing. Harry, do you concur?
Yeah, same again. Short and simple. I think Edwardstone wins easily. Well, not easily, because I think the Venetia horse will give it a ride old ding dong, because them two are firing. Very impressive last time, beating Sky Pirate absolutely easy under hands and heels by Charlie. But I think Edwardstone has improved tons and tons and tons since going over fences. The last 3 runs have been absolutely superb, flawless. So I think you can't not be impressed with him. And if he wants to go on and go close in the Arkle, I think he's got to go and win at Warwick on Saturday.
I completely agree with that. The final race on ITV is the 3:15 at Warwick. It's a 2 mile 4 Warwick Castle handicap chase, class 2 intermediate trip. Looks like a very interesting race. The field opens up as 13-2 Celebrity Dallin as the favourite currently as we speak. Our Power is 7s. Cheddleton, as previously mentioned, 8-1. So he's got a double entry there. Falco Blitz 9s. Dinny Lacey at 10s, Jacamar 10s, and Espoir de Guy 10s. Before I come to any of you gents, I'm going to say my fancy. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Jacamar, I am going to plug the video I did on Twitter. I fancy this horse for a trials day race at Cheltenham. So I'm going to plug it about here and just go listen to that, because I do all the explaining behind the form lines. But quickly from that race, he got dropped a pound. RPR's had him running at 139, his best ever performance. He's currently off 132. I think 10 towards an absolutely cracking price. Harry, do you have a fancy for this race?
Just maybe a small one. I think Falco Blitz represents some value at 9-1 each way. If Nicky decides to send it, Nicky Henderson absolutely loves sending winners to Warwick. The last ITV meeting, I think he banged in a fair few over there. So at 9-1, did jump to his left last time at Kempton. Obviously, will definitely be suited by Warwick, therefore. Another tight track. So yeah, I think 9-1 in places represents some decent value.
Lee, yourself, any small fancies for this?
Not for this one. I would just mention a few at Newbury, actually, just
crack on
before we give one naps out. So there's one of Nicky Henderson's that's in the novice race, King Ottica. So it was class 1, mainly class 2 on the flat. It's one to look out for. Gary Moore's got one in that race, but in the same colours as like Goshen and stuff like that. But I do think them are the 2 to watch. But King and Ottica in that race, and just in the last race, the Moaz and Henderson, both targets this meeting. They love Newbury and Authorised Speed in the last. I think it's an enlisted bumper, won by 10 lengths round course and distance the last time, and I think he's got a good chance. I'd like to see what he could do.
Definitely, yeah. That is the 4:10, that novice one for the Henderson runner that you mentioned, and the 4:45 at Newbury for that bumper. I concur. I was there at the track when Authorised Speed won. Very good horse. I give a small mention to Rosy Redrum. Speaking to Milton Harris, summarising his words slightly, he said he could go for the champion bumper with this, getting a 4-year-old allowance and a mare's allowance. Read into that what you will. So we could possibly see a nice one there. And I believe that's all of our fancies for the Saturday races. Obviously, take a quick look at, there's a Thursday race at now testing my knowledge. Huntington. Thank you very much, Harry, for saving me. There is a Huntington race. I believe there's only 6 runners in it at the moment. Got the likes of LA Bell in there. stage star for the Nichols is slightly out of form at the moment. It could be an indication for the weekend if stage car goes well. And I also think you've got to have a little interest in Kansas City Chief at Fakenham on Wednesday. If he doesn't go on Saturday, and he is declared for Wednesday. So if he does go, take interest in him because he'll want to get his handicap mark up for the Potemps. But as the time goes, 2 minutes 30 left, we'll take your naps, gentlemen, please. So we'll start with Harry. Where would your £10 level stake nap go?
My £10 level stake would go on to Pat's Fancy in the 115 at Newbury. As I said previously, off 143. I think that the aim won't be this Saturday. I think it'll be the National Hunt Chase. So I'd back it this Saturday, and I'd back 14-1 non-runner no bet for the National Hunt Chase in Sky.
Superb. Taking on Brave Man's Game. Very bold. Lee, yourself, £10 level stake. Where's it going?
It's unoriginal, but Edwardstone for me. I think 11-8's good value now. I think if you will come out the race, obviously I'll just get that first win iron with Edwardstone. I do think Hitman's a good shout as well, but on Pat's Fancy, if it blows its handicap mark, it doesn't really make too much of a difference for that National Hunt Chase. So I think it's got a good shout, like Harry says, but Edwardstone for me.
Definitely. And like you said, Hitman is a good shout. It's such a good shout that I'm going to put my £10 on that. 11-4. I'm not copying off him, I swear. But Hitman, yeah, that's my nap for the weekend. So that's all from us. Obviously, we'll still have our Sunday live on Twitter, 8 p.m. It'll be on the top bar of your Twitter page. Us three will be involved again. Get your questions in. Come and DM us about any questions in advance. But please do join in, and we had some lovely interaction last Sunday. Hopefully get some more numbers in there. That's all from me. Only bet when you really want to. That's my final message. Responsible gambling. Only have a bet when you really fancy something in the race. Anything else from you, gents?
No, just join us on the Twitter live, like you say, 8 p.m. every Sunday up until the festival. We can carry on after the festival, maybe, but obviously it's some good insight into Cheltenham, but anybody can get involved. Like you say, message us and we can read anything out, but you can obviously speak on that and just request to speak. And but yeah, some good content there the other day and some good interaction. So hopefully see you on Sunday.
Brilliant. Before they kick us off, from me, Ash, Lee and Harry, thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, share it about for more of these videos, and have a good weekend. Oi, oi, Kansas City Chief.
Cheers.